Hey y'all, this is Mike,
And this is Paxton.
and welcome to the Mad LiberTEA Party, where up is down, left is right, the rum is always gone, and the world is full of freaking clowns.
If you feel like the world's gone mad, then pull up a chair and we'll throw you a teacup, because we're all mad here.
Heck yeah. And speaking of madness, today we're going to talk about playing pretend. Adults playing pretend. What madness
In a
is this?
non-sexual manner, typically.
Yeah, not in the role playing ooh woo sense. No woos here.
Yeah. So as we've mentioned in, very, very briefly and briskly mentioned in
Various
our
episodes in the
earlier
past, yeah.
videos, Mike and I actually met over a RPG MMO called World of Warcraft. You might have heard of it. It is
Yeah.
the biggest MMO online. Well, in fact, that's what an MMO means. Anyway,
Free Hong Kong.
uh,
Sorry. You're gonna bring
one
up Blizzard, I
we
gotta free Hong Kong.
right. Yeah. So both of us met through World of Warcraft, and both of us were role players. And just for some semantics, so you can kind of get an idea. Essentially, you make a character or an avatar within the game. It does not have to look anything like you. In fact, most of the time, it does not look anything like you, because there's
Sometimes it's
green
not even the
people, for
same race
example.
as you.
Yeah, it does not have to be the same gender. Does not have to be. Yeah, it's fucking arbitrary. Um, so you make a character, and then you read up on the lore or the stories of that world.
Yeah.
It would be kind of like reading a history book for our own world. And then you take that history or the lore from that world, and you shape your characters or the avatar's story around that and their attributes, their personality.
Yeah.
And you create a person essentially. It's like The Sims, but a little bit more hands-on, a little more creative freedom in that aspect.
Yeah, and it's a separate person from you, you know? It's not you
Yes.
pretending to be you in a game. Which is
Now, some people
some
do
people
that,
do
but it's
that,
definitely not recommended.
yeah. And
Kind of defeats the purpose.
yeah, it's why would you go play pretend to pretend to be you? It's kind of weird. But I mean, some people enjoy it. Whatever. I mean, like I do SCA, and that's a form of role playing in which we recreate a time period and pretend that we were the person, or that we were a person that lived back in those times. So
We
that's
get
me
it, Mike.
being
You're
me as
nerdy.
another person. Okay, fine, yeah. But there's different types of role
Uh,
play, is what I'm trying to say.
right. We're not even going to get into the bedroom stuff. But, so yeah. Putting that in context, Mike and I happen to be on the same World of Warcraft server that was a roleplay server. Mike had his own character doing their own things. I had my character doing their own things. And through interactions and, years of interactions, in fact, somehow or another, all the planets aligned, and Mike and I,
Actually met.
yeah, our characters actually met. And then from that, out of characterly, as it's referred to, Mike and I met.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
to
wanted,
just,
yeah,
it's
through through the act of wanting to create a better story, we had to speak to each other.
right. And, we had plenty of fun interactions of that. Whenever we tried organizing things, Mike and I clashed a lot. Because we have two very different organizational methods, and
Not
it
only that,
was
but we came from two different, completely like culturally. Like he was from one side and I was from the other, and people on the opposite sides they did things differently. It was like a cultural difference almost.
and even out of character, we're huge generational gaps, completely different people, completely different ways of how we came into our current ideologies.
I think the
So
only thing
I
we
mean, all
shared was
things
that we were
considered,
picky.
yeah, I think all things considered, it's quite honestly a miracle that Mike and I are friends. But I think that goes to show that you don't have to agree on everything, and you don't have to be super similar to it, be friends.
Absolutely not.
So yeah,
Yeah,
is there?
Well, I was just gonna
Go
say, I
ahead.
was just gonna add on, like we're probably gonna talk about role playing a little bit more in the future to better explain to you guys like where we're coming from. But this isn't becoming a geek.
Hmm.
Well, this is a geek channel because we're geeks, but it's not gonna
Yes.
like we're not changing directions or anything. We're just this will all make sense eventually, or maybe it won't. Maybe you
Yes.
think we're weird. Maybe
And
you think we're giving the wrong idea of what role play is, and we'd like to talk about it. Obviously, if you disagree with any of this stuff, please let us know what you're thinking. If you like role play and you're looking for role players, you want to hit us up. Whatever you want to argue that it's bad for you, go ahead and come on over. Whatever, get down in our comments and stuff. Um,
yeah.
did you have anything important to add, or should we just?
I was just going to add in a just some example stories so people
Oh
can kind of
yeah,
get an
yeah. Let's
idea.
example
Uh,
stories. I love
I
those.
don't want to get it super detailed or
Oh
anything. That'll
yeah,
be for another time. But just essentially think of any fantasy movie that you have ever watched, and just imagine being an actor or a character within that movie. That's essentially
yeah.
what role play is. Just imagine Game of Thrones, pick a character, and imagine you pretending to be that character. That's essentially what role playing is.
Or if you don't
For
like
example,
fantasy, pretending to be Doctor Who or on the Starship Enterprise.
yes. So typically, just so you guys get a better understanding of the layout, typically there would be a guild leader or a organization leader essentially that would recruit other people that were of like-minded interest and had similar schedules. And then there would be a DM or a dungeon master or a game master who would set up specific scenarios. They were essentially the ones that would throw monsters or hurdles essentially into whatever scenario was
Mhm.
going on. If you were supposed to get if your organization was assigned a contract by another organization to get a caravan from point A to point B, well, it'd be your DM's job or game master's job to throw monsters, or maybe a wagon wheel falls off, and now you have to problem solve as a group, and you have all these different personalities interacting just like you would in the real world.
Yeah.
It's really, really similar to just real world and acting, and
Yeah.
watching a fantasy movie.
And on top of
Uh,
these group activities, you have your individual endeavors too, because like you can go out and role play with whoever you want, and that makes stories, and you end up bringing people back with you.
mhm. Yeah, I mean it's like real life again. But yeah, that's all I wanted to add, is just to give a little bit of reference. And yeah, like Mike said, if you agree, disagree, what have you, feel free to comment. We
Yeah.
really appreciate liking and sharing.
Oh yeah, liking and
If you
sharing helps
have
a lot.
roleplay stories, feel free to share those stories. We
Put them
really
down
love to
there.
hear
I'd
them.
love to read them.
But yeah,
Yeah, you guys. Until we talk next time, be safe, be free. This Mad LiberTEA break is adjourned. Don't roll any ones out there, y'all.